Clay. There. Where is Justin? Oh, there you snuck in. Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Sandy Sushan. I'm a current board member, not running for re-election, and so I was elected or appointed to be election officer for this year. Thank you all for coming and for showing your interest in these candidates. I'd like to introduce in alphabetical order the 6 candidates that are running this year. First one is Ron DiGiacomo, right here. Justin Kaznowski, Clay Killinger, Jeff Kistner, Bob Parker, and John Strebe, right here. We're going to give each candidate between 8 and 10 minutes to speak. There's going to be a time clock right here on this pad so you can see how much time you've used. At the end of each speaker's presentation, we will adjourn and the candidates will stay here for as much time as they need to answer individual questions that you may still have. We had all the candidates draw for positions to speak, and lucky number 1 is Mr. John Strebe.
Thank you, Sandy. I look out here and I'm really pleased to see the turnout that we have this evening. I think it shows a level of enthusiasm and commitment and concern of the residents to really have Dominion continue to be a safe place and secure place to live and to raise your families. And I want you to know that Linda and I share those concerns as well. A little bit of history. I'll start with the family because that's the most important thing. Linda, my wife of 52 years, and I moved to San Antonio 45 years ago. We lived in Atlanta, Georgia, Boston, Massachusetts, and St. Petersburg, Florida, where we met. We have 3 incredible children who are married, living in San Antonio, Houston, and Austin. And they've gifted us with 9 incredible grandsons, no granddaughters, just grandsons. And I can tell you it's quite an experience when those cousins get together. We really enjoy it. A little bit about my, oh, and by the way, I have some hobbies. One is cars, one is golf, and the other is travel. But I will just tell you that my traveling skills are a lot better than my golf skills, but I enjoy them both just as well. My professional career has been in multiple industries. I was a senior executive in the aerospace industry, the computer industry, and the healthcare industry. I was chairman and chief executive officer of the Nix Healthcare System, a 5-hospital network here in San Antonio for 32 years. And then I was president of Prospect Medical Holding Southwest before starting my business consulting practice, which I'm currently running. In terms of board experience, I have served on multiple boards over the years, both for-profit and not-for-profit boards. And I'm currently serving on 2 boards. I'm serving on the board of the San Antonio Museum of Science and Technology, which is located at Port San Antonio. If you haven't seen it, it's just an incredible asset for our community. And I'm also on the board of the Snowmass Country Club Homeowners Association in Snowmass, Colorado. I can tell you right now that all of my business contacts and experience, I have no conflicts of interest with being on the board of the Dominion Homeowners Association. My only interest is yours, and as a resident of this community. Linda and I moved here 22 years ago, and we chose Dominion for really two primary reasons. One, it was the premier gated community in San Antonio, no question about it. And in addition, it had an incredible reputation for enforcement of homeowner covenants and rules and regulations. And it had, a reputation for very sound security. In fact, the security at that time was so good that when we were looking at homes, we were told by many people that they don't even lock their doors at night. Okay. So the community certainly has changed a lot since then. Over the past 20 years, what have we seen? We've seen absolute incredible growth along the entire I-10 corridor, both commercial and residential, and that explosive growth is continuing. In addition, the number of homes, and I'm estimating this a little bit, homeowners in Dominion have gone from about 550 to 600 when we moved here to probably 1,700 or 1,800 today. And the combination of this growth and what's happening outside the Dominion and within the Dominion has caused considerable pressure on the Dominion community and on the entire perimeter of the Dominion. I think it's very important for the board to be able to adopt and evolve its budget priorities to meet the changing needs of the community. It's not the same community it was 22 years ago. It's not going to be the same community 10 years from now, so the board has to be flexible, and it has to meet the changing needs of the community. And the complexities are increasing, the challenges are increasing. It was probably a lot simpler when we moved here to be on the board and make some of the decisions that have to be made. I would guess that the percentage of full-time residents that we had in 2000 was significantly higher than the percentage of full-time residents we have today. And the percentage of renters that we had in 2000 was significantly lower than the percentage of renters that we have today. So we have a lot of homeowners that are either part-time or not committed to this, or residents who are not committed to the real standards of this community, which puts a real added layer of challenge to the board. In addition to all of this, we now have several sub-communities within the Dominion. I live in Golf Course Estates, and we have the estates, and we have all of the other areas, which each community has a certain different level of expectations and concerns and needs than other parts of the community. So the board is going to have to meet and understand all of those different needs. And in doing all of this, it's extremely important that the board maintain solid financial integrity and adequate reserves in order to fund not only current but future capital commitments. And because all of this going on, I think it's more important than ever for the board to listen, to communicate more, and to be as transparent as possible with the residents as to any critical or important decisions that are being made. Honestly believe my business experience and experience on boards, as well as a kind of a perspective as a long-term resident of Dominion, can be of value to the Homeowners Association. I also want to serve on the Finance Committee. I want to be able to use my experience in budgeting to assist in establishing our financial priorities. Security is clearly our number one issue right now. And I can assure you that my initial focus as a board member is going to be trying to examine all of the alternatives we have to improving our security status. In my mind, it must again become a key asset for living in the Dominion. And our goal has to be to continue to be the premier gated community in San Antonio. You know, Dominion has been really good to me and my family. This is a time that I thought would be appropriate for me to give some back to the community, which I'm willing to do. You've got some great candidates for this election, and I'm proud to be here with them. I would appreciate your support, but regardless, I'm confident you're going to end up with a board that's going to be very focused on listening and communicating as we go through the next few years. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you.
There. Thank you, John. Our next speaker is Jeff Kistner. She's got the timer right there.
Yeah, that's fine. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeff Kistner. My wife and I, Sheila, moved here about 6 years ago. And shortly after we moved here, my wife and I got very involved with the Neighborhood Outreach Committee. And I, being the late bloomer, more recently got involved about 6-8 months ago when I learned of some issues that were facing the community. Before I get too much further, let me just real quickly give you a bit of my background and how we came here. Most of my career I've spent in financial services, mainly with a company out of Houston, where I'm from, called Invesco. And I spent 12 years with that company. Most of it was in Houston, with a short stint, about 3 years in New York, before coming back to Texas and coming to work for USAA to run several investment programs for USAA. I retired in 2017 from that position and have been basically running my own business since. However, going back to how I came to be involved, and about 6-8 months ago, I learned of the multifamily development that was proposed to be developed here, and it's still a proposal. And so at that time, I jumped in to learn more about what was going on there, and at the same time decided to get involved with the Architectural Control Committee, of which I've been on since that time. I do not know all of the issues that we will be faced with over the next few years, but here's what I will tell you, in my opinion, that any candidate running for this board or a active current board member, what you should expect from those people. There are 3 things. The first, in my opinion, is that we act in the community's best interest. And the only thing that I can promise you is that I will do that. The second thing that I think is that we should always work to uphold the property values of our community. That is something that I can promise you that I will try to do with every decision that I'm faced with. And then the third and final thing, as a board member and board candidate at this stage, is that we always work to improve the quality of life of this community. My wife and I moved here, like I said, 6 years ago, and we recently bought a second lot in the neighborhood because we plan to build a house here, which means we plan to be here for quite a long time. As a result, we want to see this community to continue to thrive and truly be what it claims to be, the premier community of San Antonio. So that's why I'm running. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Our next speaker is Justin Kaznowski.
Good evening. I am thrilled to be standing here before you today. I will try to keep this short and sweet. A little bit about me. I was born and raised in San Antonio. I absolutely love this city. In my work life, I'm the senior compensation manager for a top 50 global law firm that's headquartered in Palo Alto, California. I currently serve as the treasurer for the board of my son's former Montessori school, where we manage a healthy budget, numerous financial and personnel issues, and of course have, I think, successfully navigated the COVID pandemic very well. In my downtime, I enjoy deep sea fishing, travel, and running around with my wife, Karen, my son, Clark, and our two dogs, Fraser and Niles. The Kaznowski clan have lived up and down the West Coast from San Francisco to San Diego to Seattle. What seems like just a few years back, Texas was calling, so we moved to Georgetown, and I was able to finish my MBA at UT Austin with honors. Last fall, I convinced my family to move back here to San Antonio, my homecoming, and we really couldn't be happier with the decision. It's just been wonderful for us. And in making that decision, there really was only one destination, and it was here in the Dominion. The search really started and stopped here, honestly. In short, we absolutely love it here. It's been an amazing experience, even though it's been brief so far. But like any good critic, we do echo the concerns that other people have about the recent events that have taken place in and around the community. So safety, security, and transparency are the three key aspects I would like to improve upon here. And I believe my background in finance, comp, and policy making nets you a solid candidate with strong energy for this board. So with that, thank you, and I welcome your questions.
Thank you, Justin. Our next speaker, Bob Parker. Major General Bob Parker.
That's funny. Good afternoon. Now that I finally met middle age, and I've got a lot of time in my hands, I've got a lot of experience, and I've got, if you don't remember anything else about me, I have 14 grandchildren. So if you want to vote for someone with a lot of grandchildren. The first house we bought here was almost 20 years ago, and we've had two other houses since then. And as several said here, probably the premier reason for moving here was security and safety. And I think the reputation has been upheld, and we had some glitches recently, but I understand that. As far as background, I retired from the Air Force after 33 years, and I was, when I retired, in charge of all the Minuteman missiles in the United States. And the only reason I mentioned that is security of nuclear weapons was the #1 priority I had in this whole country. We protected the most sensitive assets we had. So I understand security, I understand how important it is, and I carry that over to our community. I think the #1 priority in our community, we want to develop, we want to be beautiful and all that, but it's security, safety and community, safety and security of our community. Since I retired, I worked as a defense contractor, and I did Homeland Security a little bit. So again, security is kind of in the DNA a little bit. As far as boards, I was on several boards in communities I've worked in before. I was the president of a board in Northern Virginia. I understand how boards operate. I understand what they're here for. And I would say if you take two things away today, well, three things. One, get out and vote and make sure your neighbors vote. Number two, the board is here to serve you. We represent you, or we will. So I think that we need to make sure that whoever is elected understands why the board is there. And I think the current board understands that, and they're doing a great job of doing that. Number two, and if there's any kind of issue that's come up recently, I think it's transparency. I think it's important that we're open as much as we can. There are some limitations legally, et cetera. But as far as myself goes, my phone is going to be available, my email's available, and I think I can even work text messages now. So I'm available. Let me just spend a minute, because John, everybody has talked a little bit about security. Just for a point of reference, the Dominion community is about the size of Alamo Heights and about the size of Castle Hills, both in population and in geography. They have their own police departments. So our challenges start from the geographic size of our community. And John mentioned earlier, when I moved here in 2002 or 3, I don't think the Dominion or the RIM was even started yet. A lot of things have happened in 20, 25 years. If growth has come this direction, there were no car dealerships, there were no hotels, there were no apartments. So things have changed. And the one thing they noticed, being on the, and I am on the security committee, and I guess thanks to Jane, I'll take over on the 1st of April. This is true for the Dominion, and it's also true when you're guarding weapons. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And what do I mean by that? The security systems we've had in place the last 20 years have been effective, but are they still effective with the future? Is there technology out there we can use? Is the threat different? So hopefully, very soon, we're going to start a vulnerability study. An outside consultant is going to come in and look at us top to bottom. There's nothing off the board. It could be building a wall, a fence, it could be sensors, it could be whatever. We want to see where someone who's got a fresh set of eyes can come in and say, here's what we think your problems are. Now, we've done a lot on the security committee in the last few months. As you know, we have outbound traffic stops late at night at the 2 gates. We've had additional security, SAPD patrolling at night. We've had new guards. We have a patrol going along the golf course. But it's a very difficult, challenging place to secure. And I want to know that if I am elected, security is going to be the #1 concern we have. So, takeaways, I'm available whenever you need me. 2, transparency. And 3, I have 14 grandchildren.
Thank you, Bob. Our next speaker is Clay Killinger.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everybody. My name is Clay Killinger, and I'm probably one of the most recent inhabitants to the Dominion. My wife, Kathy, and I moved in about 7 months ago. So with respect to knowledge of the community, the Dominion itself, actually living here, I only have 7 months of experience, but I've been in San Antonio for over 40 years. And so I'm very familiar with the community. I've always wanted to live here, and we're really proud that we're able to call Dominion home. We plan to do that for a very long time. We live in the new estates. I'm just getting used to the different dynamics and demographics of the community. It's very interesting. My wife and I previously lived for 4 years at the Alteza condominiums, which are the condominiums on top of the Grand Hyatt Hotel. We're very interested in security. One of the defining reasons why I'm here, I got assaulted in front of the Alamo by a homeless person. So things were getting pretty bad downtown, and so we decided to make a move. A little bit about me personally. My wife and I came from the Washington, D.C. area. I came here to go to college. I'm a UTSA graduate, so I graduated in 1983. 7th graduating class, graduated at the top of my class, summa cum laude, my background is a CPA, got my undergraduate in accounting. Went to work for Arthur Andersen in 1983 and became a partner in 1997, primarily in the audit and financial advisory department. My industries that I served primarily were energy and the retail services. My large clients here in San Antonio are ones you probably know. They're Valero, HEB, Whataburger, and Waste Management. Some other interesting assignments that I was on. I worked on the Exxon Valdez oil spill for some insurance claims, and I also was the auditor for President George W. Bush's election campaign and his financial advisor in terms of internal controls. I left Andersen in 2001 at the end of the year. A lot of people were leaving at that time. Became vice president for Valero, and I've served as an executive officer, senior executive officer for Valero and their spun-off company CST Brands, and until it was eventually acquired by Couche-Tard in 2017, and then I've been retired since then. So I've been retired for about 4 years. In summary, I've been a senior executive officer for 4 publicly traded companies, and I've served on the board of 2 publicly traded companies. I currently serve on one of those companies today out of Omaha. It's a renewable fuels organization. In addition, that company's name is Green Plains. In addition to Green Plains, I serve on 3 other boards right now: the Sonar Company, which is a local entrepreneurial startup, the San Antonio Zoological Society, and an entrepreneurial 501c3 company called Alamo Angels, which is a subsidiary of Texas Research and Technology Foundation. Earlier this year, I retired from the United Way after serving on their executive committee and board of directors for many years. And I'm also retired from UTSA. I served almost all things UTSA in that time. With respect to homeowners associations, I have lived in several communities in San Antonio that obviously have had homeowners associations, and I have been involved on the board in every homeowners association where I've lived, and has also served as an officer of those homeowners associations. So some of you may be familiar with the Summerfield subdivision, which is off of Northwest Military. It's about 400 homes. I served on their board as their treasurer. I served on the board of the Alteza Homeowners Association. It was called Riverwalk Owners. That's where we just moved. It has about 100 condos. And I also served as the president and treasurer of a condominium association, a condo complex that we own, where we own a condo in Port Aransas that's called the Sandpiper. There are a lot of issues. I'm just becoming educated on them that the community is facing right now. We haven't lived here very long, but I have attended several of the board meetings and have been very attentive and listened to those. I'm very impressed by the board, and I wouldn't haphazardly attempt to join a board that wasn't as professional and well-run as this one is. So you are, notwithstanding what happens in this election, the Dominion will have a fantastic leadership group that's going to move it forward. For me, maintaining the high quality standards of the neighborhood is a primary concern. This is the premier neighborhood in San Antonio, and it's highly desired. Maintaining property values is very important. Maintaining the financial strength of the organization is also extremely important. I was impressed by the financial condition and the financial position of the association when I was looking into buying a home here. There are various security concerns, and trust me, security is number one in my book as well. And addressing those security concerns in a pragmatic and cost-efficient manner is going to be essential for this board. And in my view, applying vigilant and reasonable approaches to code compliance and application of the bylaws and the rules is also very important. Whenever I get involved in an organization, I go all in, and so I can assure you that if I'm successful in being elected, I will put forth a lot of effort and a lot of energy into making this a great place to live. Thank you.
Thank you, Clay. Our final speaker is Ron DiGiacomo.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for coming out today. I really appreciate it. It shows the interest that y'all have in what's going on in your community, and we do appreciate it. I'm Ron DiGiacomo. My wife, Roseanne, and I have been living in the Dominion since 2004. We really enjoy it. We came here because of the beauty and the security of the neighborhood, and we really, really like the way it's kept up, and frankly, the way it's been run for all of those years. My background is I had a Bachelor of Science degree in finance from Florida State University and a law degree from Florida State University. And I've practiced financial institutions law for the last 35 years with some of the biggest companies, JP Morgan, previous to that, Bank One, Ford Motor Company, Wells Fargo, USAA. I was recently General Counsel of USAA right here in San Antonio. So we've been in San Antonio for a very long time. We, like all of you, are very familiar with, at least as an outsider, with the issues challenging the community, safety issues, the growth in the community, traffic, just a number of issues. I unfortunately am not privy to all the inside information because I haven't been involved like a board member would be involved in all of you in the hearings and information. So I'd be interested to see what all of you think about what the issues are and the ways we can approach these problems and resolve them in the best interest of the community. So, I mean, I'm committed to providing my time to listen to all of you and hear what you have to say about what's important to you and represent you on the board. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ron. I think no matter how the election goes, we're going to end up with 3 wonderful new candidates. We've got some really qualified people here, and it's wonderful to see. As a past treasurer of the board for 6 years, I'm thrilled to see so many people interested in the finance department. That's wonderful, and I know Mike's taking notes over there for possible candidates. Thank you all for coming and showing your interest in this election. That concludes this portion of what. Oh, and if anybody needs ballots, did not receive them in the mail, Lisa has several ballots if you need them to vote. That will conclude this portion of the evening, but the candidates will be here. If you've got individual questions for any of the candidates, you're welcome to ask them now. So thank you all for coming.